I'm Lauren, the Children's and Teen Librarian here at the Linfield Public Library, and I'm here with our new young adult fiction and nonfiction books. I know that one thing you're probably missing is coming in and browsing our collection. So what I'm going to do today is take some of these books off the shelf, give you a look at them, and maybe you'll find one that you'd like to check out. So for each of the books that I've chosen, I'll show you the front of the book. I will open it up or show you the back to read the description, and then I'll read it out loud to you. So it'll be just like if you were browsing and you want to open up and just read it yourself, you can pause the video and you can read it, or you can listen to me read it. And for each of the books, I will put the titles and the timestamps in the description so you can skip to whatever ones you're interested in. The Puppetmaster's Apprentice by Elise DeSelm. Pause here if you'd like to read it yourself. The Margrave of Tavia hasn't emerged from Wolfspire Hall in over a decade. His palace has been a silent citadel on the hill overlooking the village until a peculiar commission reaches the Puppetmaster and his daughter. They must make 100 wooden soldiers for him as quickly as possible, or the Puppetmaster will be imprisoned in the dungeons of Wolfspire Keep. Pirouette has no choice but to obey the young ruler's strange whims to save her father, all while hiding a dangerous secret of her own. She was once a puppet, brought to life by the light of the blue moon. When the Margrave requires that Pirouette craft him a puppet the likes of which the world has never seen, an intricately carved, life-size assassin, he doesn't stop there. He demands she bring her ultimate creation to life. Fighting against dark magic and racing against the rise of the next blue moon, she can't help but wonder, is she making a masterpiece or a monster? Now That I Found You by Kristina Forrest. Following in the footsteps of her uber-famous grandma, 18-year-old Evie Jones is poised to be Hollywood's next big star. That is, until a close friend's betrayal leads to her being blacklisted. Fortunately, Evie knows just the thing to save her floundering career: a public appearance with America's most beloved actress, her grandma Gigi, aka the Evelyn Conaway. The only problem? Gigi is a recluse who's been out of the limelight for almost 20 years. Days before Evie is to present her grandma with an honorary award in front of Hollywood's elite, Gigi does the unthinkable. She disappears. With time running out and her comeback on the line, Evie reluctantly enlists the help of the last person to see Gigi before she vanished. Milo Williams, a cute musician Evie isn't sure she can trust. As Evie and Milo conduct a wild manhunt across New York City, romance and adventure abound, while Evie makes some surprising discoveries about her grandma and herself. We Are Not Free by Traci, Chee. What do you do when the only home you've ever known is taken from you? Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, 14 Japanese-American teens find their lives irrevocably changed. Registration, curfew, eviction, incarceration. As World War II roars on around them, these teens must ask themselves what it means to be free Americans when their own country has imprisoned them. 14 teens who have grown up together in Japantown, San Francisco. 14 teens who form a community and a family as interconnected as they are conflicted. 14 teens whose lives are turned upside down when over 100,000 people of Japanese ancestry are removed from their homes and forced into desolate incarceration camps. In a world that seems determined to hate them, they must rally together as racism and injustice threaten to pull them apart. Fly Girls, Luxx, the New Girl. This is a great one if you are looking for a shorter book. It's Luxx Lawson's first day at Augusta Savage School of the Arts in Harlem, and she's determined to make it work. She can't get kicked out of another place, especially since her only other option is military school. So when she runs into the Fly Girls, the 3 coolest girls and kids in her grade, Luxx puts her plan into motion. She'll join their crew, focus on her photography, and stay out of trouble. But can she actually start over with these girls, or will her past catch up with her and ruin everything? The Way Back by Gavriel Savit. For the people of Tupik, a tiny riverside village in Eastern Europe, demons are everywhere, dancing on the rooftops at midnight, congregating in the trees, trying to steal away the living. They even have a land of their own, the Far Country, governed by demonic lords and ladies. One night, the Angel of Death comes strolling through the village. This sends Yehuda Lieb and Bluma, 2 children of Tupik, whirling off on a perilous journey through the Far Country, where they will make pacts with ancient demons and declare war on Death himself. And maybe, just maybe, find the way back. Drawing inspiration from Jewish folk tradition, Gavriel Savit takes readers on an unforgettable and life-affirming adventure filled with heart and hope. Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. "16-year-old Tessa Johnson has never felt like the protagonist in her own life. She's rarely seen herself reflected in the pages of the romance novels she loves. The only place she's a true leading lady is in her own writing. In the swoony love stories, she shares only with Caroline, her best friend. When Tessa is accepted into the writing program of a prestigious art school, she's excited to finally let her stories shine. But when she goes to her first workshop, the words are gone. Fortunately, Caroline has a solution. Tessa just needs to find some inspiration in a real-life love story of her own, and she's ready with a list of romance novel-inspired steps to a happily ever after. Nico, the brooding artist who looks like he walked out of one of Tessa's stories, is cast as the perfect Prince Charming. But as Tessa checks off each item on the list, she gets further away from herself. She risks losing everything she cares about, including the surprising bond she develops with Sweet Sam, who lives across the street. She's on her way to having her own real-life love story, but is it the one she wants after all? Those Who Pray by Jennifer Moffet. College life isn't what Emily expected. She expected to spend freshman year strolling through the ivy-covered campus with new friends, finally feeling like she belonged. Instead, she walks the campus alone, still not having found her place or her people. But then the Kingdom finds her. The Kingdom, an exclusive on-campus group, offers everything Emily expected out of college and more. Acceptance, friends, a potential boyfriend, and a chance to spend the summer on a mission trip to Italy. But the trip is not what she thought it would be. Emily and the others are stripped of their passports and money. They're cut off from their families back home. The Kingdom's practices become increasingly manipulative and dangerous, and someone ends up dead. At times unsettling and always riveting, Those Who Pray looks at the allure of cult life, questioning just how far we're willing to go to find where we belong. Early Departures by Justin A. Reynolds. Jamal's best friend, Q, does not know he's about to die, again. He also doesn't know that Jamal tried to save his life, rescuing him from drowning, only to watch Q die in the hospital. Even more complicated, Jamal and Q haven't been best friends in 2 years. Not since Jamal's parents died in a car accident, leaving him and his sister to carry on without them. Grief swallowed Jamal whole, and he blamed Q for causing the accident. But what if Jamal could have a second chance? An impossible opportunity to say goodbye to his friend. A new healthcare technology allows Q to be reanimated, brought back to life like the old Q. But there's a catch. Q will reanimate only for a short time before he dies, forever this time. Jamal is determined to make things right, but he can't tell Q why he's suddenly trying to be friends with him again, because Q has no idea that he died, and Q's mom is not about to let anyone ruin the miracle by telling him. With the clock ticking, how can Jamal fix his friendship if he can't tell Q the truth? Justin A. Reynolds weaves together loss, grief, friendship, and love to form a wholly unique homage to the bonds that bring people together for life and beyond. Be Not Far From Me by Mindy McGinnis. The world is not tame. Ashley knows this truth deep in her bones, more at home with trees overhead than a roof. In the forest, Ashley can stay dry in the rain, warm in the cold, and fed in the middle of nowhere. Davy Beat, her childhood crush and summer camp counselor, taught her these things. But he couldn't teach her everything about survival, like how to persevere when Mama left, or how to sleep soundly alone in the trailer when Dad pulled double shifts. So when Ashley goes hiking in the Smokies with her friends for a night of partying, the falling dark and creaking trees are second nature to her. But people are not tame either. And when Ashley catches her boyfriend with another girl, drunken rage sends her running into the night, stopped only by a nasty fall into a ravine. Morning brings the realization that she's alone and far off trail. Lost in undisturbed forest with just the clothes on her back, Ashley must figure out how to survive, putting into practice all the tricks she learned from Davy. But she can't outrun the red streak of infection that's creeping up her leg, or the fear of another truth. 2 years before, Davy's own broken heart sent him into these woods, and he never came out. How can Ashley expect to survive? Award-winning author Mindy McGinnis delivers a compelling and harrowing story about survival and one girl's attempt to endure the impossible. A Song Below Water by Bethany C. Morrow. In a society determined to keep her under lock and key, Tavia must hide her siren powers. Meanwhile, Effie is fighting her own family struggles as she is pitted against literal demons from her past. Together, these best friends must navigate the perils of high school's junior year. But everything changes in the aftermath of a siren murder trial that rocks the nation, when Tavia accidentally lets out her magical voice at the worst possible moment. Soon nothing in Portland, Oregon seems safe. To save themselves from drowning, Tavia and Effie's unbreakable sisterhood must prove to be the strongest magic of all. Elatsoe by Darcie Little Badger. Imagine an America very similar to our own. It's got homework, best friends, and pistachio ice cream. There are some differences. This America has been shaped dramatically by the magic, monsters, knowledge, and legends of its peoples, those indigenous and those not. Some of these forces are charmingly everyday, like the ability to make an orb of light appear or travel across the world through rings of fungi. But other forces are less charming and should never see the light of day. Elatsoe lives in this slightly stranger America. She can raise the ghosts of dead animals, a skill passed down through generations of her Lapanapache family. Her beloved cousin has just been murdered in a town that wants no prying eyes. But she is going to do more than pry. The picture-perfect facade of Willoughby masks gruesome secrets, and she will rely on her wits, skills, and friends to tear off the mask and protect her family. When You Look Like Us by Pamela N. Harris. When you look like us, brown skin, brown eyes, black braids or fades, everyone else thinks you're trouble. No one takes a second look at a missing black girl from public housing, because she must have brought whatever happened to her upon herself. I, Jay Murphy, can admit that for a minute, I thought my sister Nicole got too caught up with her drug dealer boyfriend and his friends. But she's been gone too long. Nick, where are you? If I hadn't hung up on her that night, she would be home spending time with our grandma. If I was a better brother, she'd be finishing senior year instead of being another name on a missing persons list. It's time to step up to do what the Newport News Police Department won't. Bring her home. Hunted by the Sky by Tanaz Bhathena. Gul has spent her life running. She has a star-shaped birthmark on her arm, And in the kingdom of Ambar, girls with such birthmarks have been disappearing for years. Gull's mark is what caused her parents' murder at the hand of King Lohar's ruthless soldiers, and forced her into hiding to protect her own life. So when a group of rebel women called the Sisters of the Golden Lotus rescue her, take her in, and train her in warrior magic, Gull wants only one thing: revenge. Kvass lives in the tenements, and he's just about ready to sign his life over to the king's army. His father is terminally ill, and Kvass will do anything to save him. But sparks fly when he meets a mysterious girl, Gull, in the capital's bazaar, and as the chemistry between them undeniably grows, he becomes entangled in a mission of vengeance, and discovers a magic he never expected to find. Dangerous circumstances bring Gull and Kvass together at the king's domain in Ambar Fort, a world with secrets deadlier than their own. Inspired by medieval India, this is the first in a stunning fantasy duology by Tanaz Bhathena, exploring identity, class struggles, and high-stakes romance against a breathtaking magical backdrop. So that was all of our fiction books that I pulled. If you are interested in nonfiction, I've grabbed a few of those as well. If you only wanted to listen to the descriptions of the fiction books, you can go ahead and stop now. Poisoned Water by Candy J. Cooper with Mark Aronson. In 2014, Flint, Michigan was a cash-strapped city that had been built up then abandoned by General Motors. As part of a plan to save money, government officials decided that Flint would temporarily switch its water supply from Lake Huron to the Flint River. Within months, many residents broke out in rashes. Then it got worse. Children stopped growing. Some people were hospitalized with mysterious illnesses, others died. Citizens of Flint protested that the water was dangerous. Despite what seemed so apparent from the murky, foul-smelling liquid pouring from the city's faucets, officials refused to listen. They treated the people of Flint as the problem, not the water, which was actually poisoning thousands. Through interviews with residents and intensive research into legal records and news accounts, journalist Candy J. Cooper, assisted by writer-editor Mark Aronson, reveals the true story of Flint. Poisoned Water shows not just how the crisis unfolded in 2014, but also the history of racism and segregation that led up to it, the beliefs and attitudes that fueled it, and how the people of Flint fought and are still fighting for clean water and healthy lives. Courageous Creativity by Sarah Zarr. Go forth and make. It can be scary to create something. Before you can even work on your craft, you have to face down the negative voices inside your head that say you don't have anything valuable to offer. Well, you do have something to offer. National Book Award finalist Sarah Zarr will help you get started. This book is Antiracist by Tiffany Jewell, illustrated by Aurelia Durand. Who are you? What is your identity? How can you take action against racism? Learn about identities, true histories, and anti-racism work in 20 carefully laid out chapters. This book is written so young people will feel empowered to stand up to the adults in their lives. This book will give them the language and ability to understand racism and a drive to undo it. In short, this book is for everyone. And our last book is a biography, Miss Gloria Steinem, A Life, by Winifred Conkling. Gloria Steinem is perhaps the single most iconic figure associated with women's rights. Her strength and wisdom have inspired women for generations, but Gloria Steinem's life is more complex and compelling than most people realize. Her unconventional childhood caused her to rethink society's assumptions about the roles of women and men. This spark lit a fire in her that burned for decades as she became a leading voice in the women's movement. Documenting everything from Steinem's boundary-pushing journalistic career and foundation of Ms. Magazine to being awarded the 2013 Presidential Medal of Freedom, Winifred Conkling's Miss Gloria Steinem, A Life is a meticulously researched biography that is sure to satisfy even the most voracious of aspiring glass-ceiling smashers. And that is all of the books I have for you today. So I hope you enjoyed browsing some of our newer books. If you want to check any out, you can put them on hold through our online catalog. by calling the library or by emailing. All the information will be in the description, and you'll be able to come pick up the book from the library during our front door service hours. If you want any more information on any of these books or any other books in our young adult collection, you can also email me, and I can help provide more information and recommendations. So if you enjoyed this, let me know, because I can do another one with some more books soon. I can also do one for children's books. If you would be interested in that, just let me know. Well, thanks for joining me. Bye!